Hello everyone, Fix-It Tony here. Today's project is painting pegboard. I want to repurpose this pegboard for a ceiling mounting project, and I'll show you what that is about later. But this was on my wall in the garage, and 10 years ago I was organizing my tools by outlining the shape so I know what I had and if something was missing or out of place. But now I want to paint this whole thing white. This is a Sharpie marker, and this will bleed over through latex paint. So what I need to do is somehow keep this Sharpie ink from bleeding through. A couple of things that I've learned over the years is that shellac or lacquer over top could do it. So I had some spray polyurethane in a spray can, and I just sort of sprayed over it, but I am going to put shellac over top of it, and I have some leftover shellac that I have, clear, transparent, and I'm gonna stir it and then paint over the marker with shellac and let it dry, and then I will apply my coat of primer. So the tools I'm going to need today for this project is a paint paint tray. I have these metal reusable ones, a foam brush for the shellac, and I have a natural bristle brush that I'm going to use for the latex paint. I reuse this, I wash it thoroughly, I dry it flat so you can get many years of use. Spend good money on a real quality brush and it'll return in dividends of reuse opportunities. It's best to buy a brush with a wooden handle that is unfinished. It works better in the hand, better grip, fatigue, and any blisters from any sweat. It's okay if it gets a little bit of paint on it. Quick tips on how to pick out a really good brush. Pure bristle is important, and metal frame around it is also a good thing to look out for. I organized my paint tools in plastic bins, and if I can remember what I had, what I need is a paint can opener. So I got one. You can get them for free when you go buy paint. I save my stir sticks. I'm going to use this side to stir the shellac. So paint. Throw it gently. I'm doing this indoors over a tarp because it's winter time, and you have to have good temperatures. This is a strong smell, so I'm going to try to be quick about it. I have my pegboard on some blocking, so I don't have to, it's easier to get at the bottom, and soak my brush about an inch or so down with less than a half a brush, and then I'm just going to paint this. All right, that's kind of it, really. Now, I've seen shellac used to cover other stains on a wall. so that's kind of where I got it from. I don't remember if I seen it specifically for hiding Sharpie. This pegboard, it's like a masonite. It's a strange material. It's very hard but brittle. It doesn't really like to be bent much. I don't know how much is soaking in. I'm gonna just do one good coat.
And what else do I need for soccer practice? Dad.
That's it. All right, there we go. I got it covered, and now I'm just gonna let it dry. Hello, it's been about 15 minutes or so, and the shellac is dry to the touch. It's dry, and so what I'm gonna do is a little bit tacky still here, but I think it's gonna be ready to go by the time I get my primer ready. So what I hopefully have in my other painting supply kit, I've got rollers, roller frames, roller refills, another paint can opener, and I always keep handy the liners. I always keep 3 or 4 liners for my paint trays on hand, and these are a couple bucks a piece, and I line my paint tray, and then it allows me for easy cleanup to preserve my paint tray. So that's my paint tray. I'm just using a latex primer, a multi-purpose latex primer. I do want my final color to be white to help just with light reflectivity, you know, in the garage. This can is probably 1/4 full, and this one's both 3/4 full. So I'm going to open up this one. What I like to do before is shake it really well, and then I'll stir it, and just to make sure any clumps, any settling that happened is gone, and then I will begin painting. So I'll start painting around. I'm gonna start with the roller. Maybe I don't even need a brush, so we'll see. And then by the time I get to that section, hopefully it'll be completely dry, as I have a lot of area to cover. So let me just work on, well, first I'm gonna shake this and then I'll open it. All right, I shook the can vigorously. And as sometimes if you don't clean the rim of the gallon really well, the paint can stick, and sometimes pulling this up all the way isn't a good idea, because you begin to fold open this bead. So what I do is, you can do a little bit of a turn, and that helps with making the paint can open more easy. Now that's careful when you flip it over, because it's going to have wet paint under the lid, and then oops, splatter. All right, get ready to just pour this. Alrighty. So I got a couple options here before me. I can use a large 9-inch roller, or I have these foam rollers. I think I'm going to try these foam rollers if it fits. I don't know if I have the right frame for it, but we'll see. I'm going to take a look and see what I got and see what works. Yeah, it looks a little goofy. Not really what I'm hoping for. Let's give it a try. Let's see what this thing looks like. Let's see. You gotta really saturate your roller. So I'm going back and forth, back and forth. I'll pick up a little bit, roll it, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. And then I'll start at the top. I'm going to stay a little bit away from the edge, that one row, and I'll show you how I'm going to address that because I'm so close to the wall. In the beginning, you'll notice that the roller doesn't really have a lot of coverage. I'm also using a small roller. And when you're rolling, you always got to maintain a wet edge. So keeping your roller filled is important. And then continuing with the edge that you left on. Trying to squeeze every bit of paint off the roller before reloading it is not the right approach. You create lines, you're stressing the roller, it actually takes you longer to do. And then when you're done an area, I like to go back over it just to make sure any overlap lines have been taken care of. And then my roller is feeling dry, so gotta reload it. painting a piece of plywood or something more casual for the garage, you know, yeah, should still try to aim for even coverage, because if you can get a good base coat down with primer, it's gonna, your final coat of paint is gonna be easier, you know, to apply. Again, keeping that top row. Do not want to hit my interior finished wall. Latex paint these days don't have as much of a strong odor as it did 20 years ago when I first started painting. Well, actually, I first started painting 30 years ago. I probably started painting when I was 10 or 12 years old, helping my dad out, painting apartment buildings and renovations. All right, so that's kind of the process. It's looking pretty good. I'm just going to continue along, and I'll check in with you in about 10 or 15 minutes. Hi there. I'm almost finished. I gotta just do this top row. So I'm gonna just hold this back from the wall and hit that edge. You guys see how I'm finishing the edge up? So that's kind of what that's about. You can tell the primer is a little thin. Doesn't have the same coverage, but I am doing a unfinished, wood surface. So the primer is doing its job. It's not going to look as pretty as a final coat would because of the coverage, but you'll begin to see how it sort of turns out. You can see the different, that's fresh. That's more fresh on this side. Looks like I have a thin spot, so I'm gonna take some more. I got some more primer. I'm just gonna use it up, and I'm just gonna keep applying it, finishing it up, and then I'm going to find a finish coat. Primer dries quickly, 15-20 minutes, and I'll be able to put on the top coat. See you in a bit. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. The Sharpie area was down here. You can see there's no signs or bleeding through of the Sharpie through the white paint. So that just gives you a sense of how effective the shellac is in sealing the Sharpie from bleeding through. Thank you. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. There's always small projects, big projects available. Thank you.